Welcome everybody to the session. Just a quick reminder that we are recording this session. We're recording the session itself and the chat. And I'll throw it over to our presenter from Elder Dog, Jacqueline Henley.
Hello everyone, I'm Jacqueline, waving right here. And I have been involved with Elder Dog Canada for 2 years in the Lower Mainland. We started in the Lower Mainland about a year before that. I have been acting as the pod leader, and the pod is what we call different cities of Elder Dog activities. We are across the country. And I have a presentation for you here. This is, we are the Vancouver pod, but serving the Lower Mainland. I guess I just jumped the gun on the introduction. That's all you guys only get to hear about me. I don't get to know what's going on with you guys. And I would like to acknowledge that we are on the territory of the Coast Salish. So what we're going to talk about will be how Elder Dog came to be, how it started, the things that we strive for in Elder Dog activities. And the Dog Care Support Program is our biggest program, so mostly we'll talk about that. That is when volunteers go out to assist seniors with their dogs. And we also have a very small rehoming program, and also to let everybody know that we do take COVID-19 into consideration. So this beautiful boy here is Mr. Brown, and Mr. Brown was the beginning of Elder Dog for us. Our founder is Dr. Ardra Cole, and sadly, she had the experience of her brother passing away, and Mr. Brown was her brother's dog. And during the course of that, Dr. Cole noticed how much of a role and how much relief Mr. Brown had for everybody, her brother and the family members, and even the support staff who were coming in. And after her brother had passed away, Mr. Brown came to Ardra's home. And as you can probably tell from looking at him, he was a pretty old guy there. And all of this prompted Ardra to think about the role that animals play, specifically dogs, in aging, and the support and the comfort that older people get from having dogs with them, and how difficult it becomes when your own health is changing and unpredictable to keep that valuable source of support with you. So Elder Dog was begun both to support the seniors who have dogs and want to keep them, and also to help to take care of those dogs if they're no longer able to stay with their seniors. We do have 30 pods going across Canada. We started on the East Coast near Halifax, and I believe the only province we haven't made it into is Saskatchewan for some reason. So our vision is to honor and preserve the animal-human bond through companionship, research, and education. And that's the key that we talk about a lot of the time, is the animal-human bond and the two components in that. So we're acting to support older adults in the care of their canine companions. And we provide care and companionship for those dogs if they're not able to be with their companion. We also work for education. Dr. Ardra Cole is actually a practicing researcher and speaker at Mount Allison University. So she's does a wonderful job on forwarding research and also on presenting and helping us to have a lot of current information on the role that dogs and animals play in human health, and especially with older people. And we support and research, that sentence doesn't make sense. So research into the human-animal bond. Our credo is to act with dignity, respect, to support the health and well-being. We have a comfort and quality of life, tribute, integrity, and sustainability. So some of the ways that that comes about is, we'll talk in a little while about, we have a low barrier approach to services. And what I mean by that is, when seniors want to access our services, we want it to be as simple as possible. We don't want there to be a lot of hoops to jump through. We don't need bank statements or financial statements or something from your doctor or your occupational therapist, because we would like the seniors to feel that they are the expert on their own situation, and that what they're telling us they need is what they need. So we believe that that is being more respectful and treating the seniors as people who are the experts in their own situation. In terms of comfort and quality of life and tribute, that also extends to the dogs. Sometimes dogs are entrusted to our care temporarily, but sometimes they do come to our care permanently. And part of what we do is help the senior to pay their respects, to honor what that dog has brought to their life when that dog passes on. We do have some lovely things that happen in Nova Scotia, mostly where our headquarters are, where we have a place to pause, where we put up pictures of the dogs that pass away, and people can go there to remember their dogs. And we also do a butterfly release once a year. I seem to have a blank, two blanks. All right, so our dog care support program is our main program. And what this program is we provide volunteers who go out to seniors' homes to support them in whatever aspect of dog care they're having difficulties with. So to qualify, a senior and their dog have to be living at home together. They have health or mobility issues that are affecting their ability to take care of their dog. And it could be financial or physical combination challenges to providing care. So the way we phrase it is that this is a program for people who would not be able to keep their dogs healthy without Elder Dog's help. And in terms of finances, some of our clients, some of the people that we are assisting are very financially vulnerable. And so in that case, we can also help them to access sources of funding that can help them with the financial aspects of keeping their dog. But some people are completely able to keep their dog, but when something happens and their mobility or their energy is affected, it can cost up to $2,000 a month to have dog walks done if you need to have 2 or 3 walks a day. And that's if you can even find dog walkers for all of that time. We actually have had someone just contact us yesterday who had that experience, that she got a dog and soon after developed difficulties with one of her legs. And now she has recovered and can do some of the walks herself, but she can't do all of them. And even needing that partial support from a dog walker is more than her finances can allow. So it's not a program that's only for people who are very financially vulnerable. It's also a program for people who just can't afford to have all of the help that they need through professional assistance. Our primary goal is to keep the dog at home with the senior. But if the senior is not able to care for the dog either temporarily or in terms of long-term, it would be a matter of finding a new home. Temporarily, we provide fosters. And sometimes the situation with a foster is that the senior just doesn't know how long it's going to be. For instance, if a senior is hospitalized and isn't sure how long they'll be in hospital, or maybe even if they can go back to their same housing, and they don't know if their new housing will be somewhere where they can take the dog. So that would be a situation where we would be able to provide a foster for long enough, whether the senior can come home, which is wonderful, and take care of the dog again, or if they need to figure out that they need new housing and if they can have their dog with them or not. Sadly, sometimes the situations do resolve that the senior can't have the dog with them, in which case we look for a new home for the dog. What we do that is different from a rescue is these are dogs that they weren't abandoned, they weren't abused, through no fault of their own, they've lost their home. But the other difference is that we are still working at maintaining that bond with the senior. So you don't have to surrender your dog and that's the end of your relationship with your dog. We work to keep the senior in touch with their dog, which can mean written and verbal updates, photos. Whenever it's possible, if it's desired, we can also work to arrange visits if the new home is close enough. but we're trying to maintain that bond with the senior and the dog, even after, and the dog cannot be there. And that happens also during the fostering period. It is important to point out that this is free service. We are a registered charity, but so we do gratefully accept donations. What people most often ask us for help with is dog walking, help getting their dog to the vet or the groomer. Sometimes it's a little bit of a different transportation need. For instance, we have a client whose family lives on Vancouver Island, and she didn't need fostering to go and visit her family. You can take the dog on the ferry and the dog could be with her, but she had no way to get to the ferry with her dog because it was a dog that couldn't go in a small carrier. So in that case, we provided the transportation to the ferry terminal so that she was able to take her dog with her. The other frequent request, we do often get requests that start when the person has an emergency. So we can get the call because the person needs to go to hospital, or they've been to a doctor and the doctor says you need to have this surgery in 2 weeks or 6 weeks or tomorrow. So we can get the request at the very last minute to foster, in which case then we get as much information as we can, but sometimes we have to proceed without a lot of information on the dog, and our volunteers are prepared for that. We do prefer to set up an emergency plan ahead of time and to be able to ask you everything that you would like us to know about your dog. The other things that we can do is assistance to access the animal food banks. Sometimes people have a hard time opening cans or carrying the heavy bags of dog food. We have had people who have had some dementia that we've helped to make sure that the dog continued to be fed. We can also help with minor grooming. And there are some volunteers who are able to help with nail clipping. It also depends on the dog. Some dogs are easier to work with that. There are a couple of things that we can also help with when it's not COVID that we are not able to do right now. And that would be helping a small dog to have a bath, or we do assist with things like sometimes dogs need subcutaneous fluids, but these things require people to hold their dog and the other person to be in close contact. So while COVID is going on, we are doing that mainly by helping the person to access services to get that done. As I said, there's no fees for any of Elder Dog services, but donations are gratefully accepted. This is how you contact Elder Dog. So if you or a neighbor or a family member need to contact Elder Dog, whether it's to arrange things in advance or an emergency, the first two contacts, the email and then the phone number, would go directly to Nova Scotia. One thing that is convenient about that is they have a time difference. So if it's early in the morning and you don't feel comfortable calling me because my phone number is down there, you can call Nova Scotia and get somebody right away, and they transfer the information to us. If it's an emergency, they will actually contact us, even if it's an inconvenient time. They have a number of different emergency contacts to get through to us on the West Coast. The next one, the local branch, is Elder Dog Vancouver for the Lower Mainland. And then that's my phone number there. I'm the person you get when you call the local Elder Dog number. At the bottom is some of our online presence. So you can keep up with us there. This is what happens when you call a dog to have assistance. We have a coordinator who gets all of the information from you and just helps you to decide what it is that you need. Most of the time, seniors don't ask for all the help that they need. They start out asking for, a little tiny bit of help, but often there's more help that we can provide, but people don't want to ask for too much. So we encourage you to explore all of the things that we can do. Then somebody comes out to meet you and gives you some emergency contact things that say, if something happens to me, please contact Elder Dog. And we meet the dog so that we can make sure that we know what their needs are. And then we have the volunteers set up a schedule. You get introduced to each volunteer individually, and they get introduced to you and the dog on a walk with a volunteer who's already met the dog. Usually you have a team of between 3 and 10 volunteers for each senior. And this is a tiny bit about our older dog rehoming. So a dog that we rehome for a senior can be any age. It's more based on the senior's age, but occasionally we do accept dogs who their quality of life is still fine, but they don't, they're not able to stay in the home that they're in because of their health. So it might be a dog not coming from a senior, but the dog is a senior themselves. As I said, we keep, I have seen the 5-minute notice, thanks. As I've said, we do the best we can to keep the contact between the senior and the dog, if that is what they want, with frequent written or verbal updates, photos, end of life wishes. So sometimes that's for the end of the dog's life. Sometimes people actually say that they would request that the dog be buried with them. Sadly, it's a sad thing to talk about, but sometimes people want to make sure that their dog is coming back to them. We do preferentially place dogs with seniors, but this is a very small part of what we do. We only rehome about 1 dog a month at most. So we don't have a lot of dogs coming through our program, but when we do have a dog, if there's a senior interested and that is the best place for the dog, we preferentially place with seniors. For COVID-19, of course, we follow all of the provincial recommendations with hand washing, sanitizing, masks, and keeping a distance. If it's at all possible that the senior can bring the dog out to the volunteer, then that's what we do. And the volunteers, whenever possible, have their own leash, so we can undo the senior's leash and do up the volunteer's leash. There's not a big chance of contamination through a leash or from us touching the dog, but because those are things that we can control, those are things that we do whenever possible. And we do also allow both the volunteer and the client to say if they feel that more protection is necessary. So some clients have chosen to have a smaller number of walks, less assistance, and fewer volunteers involved so that their bubble is smaller. Or they might request that, you know, they have a sanitizer outside their door and everybody use their sanitizer before knocking on their door when they're walking away. Some people might choose to put their dog into foster because they're not comfortable with the risk of having volunteers come to their door, for instance. So we do check in with both the client and the volunteer on their comfort level. And this is all of the ways to contact us again. Thank you for coming to find out about us today. It's been really nice to talk to you. I hope we can get a few questions there. And I'm not very happy with this slide, so I'm actually going to go backwards if that's okay with you guys, if I can. Nope, I'm sorry. You guys are stuck with this slide. So while it's the same contact information from before, and this is in all of the support material that we have, if you ever cannot find the local stuff, do not worry about using the, when you look online or if you have a brochure, that will always have the national contact information. And that is because it's used across the country. But do not worry at all about using the national contact information. You will be passed back to us in the Lower Mainland, and a volunteer who's near you will be contacting you. So we have volunteers from Maple Ridge and Langley all the way down to Delta and out to West Vancouver, and they are helping clients in all of those areas. And we get new requests all the time and new volunteers all the time. So please, if you or you know somebody who needs help with their dog, please let us know and feel free to contact us.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. This is really interesting. If anybody is interested in volunteering, do they get in touch the same way?
Exactly, yes. That's the same contact information, whether it's to volunteer, to ask for services, or to donate.
That's great. Well, thanks everybody. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for Q&A. We have to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think that people could give you a call or an email if they had any specific questions.
Absolutely.
And pick up the resource materials that are available to you. Thank you so much for your presentation today. And thanks everyone for joining us.